Okay, recording this video on Saturday, the 11th of September 2021, just gone 12:05 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So, I'm a little bit relieved that we've just moved into our usual place here in Biarritz in France, because the last 2 weeks I've had really poor internet connection. Just did a speed test now on the internet connection I've got here, and it's 488 megabits per second, which is just crazy fast. France is always great with kind of Wi-Fi infrastructure, but you do need to have like an up-to-date service and to be willing to pay a little bit for it. The place we were at, we were barely getting 4 megabits per second, and then when I was using a mobile connection with my Google Fi, it was costing a fortune, so I didn't do any videos during the last 2 weeks. But anyway, let's make up for that by talking about some charts today. Mostly daily charts I'm going to go through, just the ones that are kind of interest to me, and just show you what I'm kind of looking at. This is just a long-term picture. This is the S&P 500 index for the last 2 years, basically, where we had our sell-off last year, March into April, bang, 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 exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence. All the blue professional bars kind of come in. We have a U-turn here. They're kind of selling up at the top of that range, and then they're buying down at the bottom of the range. So the U-turn happens, we take off, and we've just been in a stellar bull market the whole time. But there's two ways that a market kind of top out. One, it either kind of blows off with exhaustion volume, just everybody gets kind of crazy excited, a la NASDAQ in 2000, or it can kind of run out of puff. And what we're doing at the moment is running out of puff. We've had so many instances throughout this rally where, you know, we've come into these Rambo patterns where new highs are being made by amateurs. So very small average trade size, which means the amateurs are buying the breakout and not the professionals. And we kind of have a little bit of weakness from their little patterns, three or four kind of. And we've had in the last 6 months or so, 4 months, 3 months, we've had this kind of sequence of about 8 Rambo patterns into those highs, where we had a tiny little sell-off from there, and then this last one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably 7, 8 kind of Rambo patterns into those highs, and you can see these are all amateur bars over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, it's kind of summer. End of summer, so the volume's going to be light. The professionals are not up there kind of seats. They're kind of back in September, and I just wonder, for me, it's always the low of this amateur kind of sequence that's kind of the critical number. So what is the low here? We got 4,368, something like that, is going to be kind of a critical number. We had 3 or 4 kind of nasty days, and I just wonder if we're kind of due for a little bit of rolling over. And the reason why I'm saying that is when you back it up to a 15-minute chart, so you can go down your time frames, from your daily chart to 135-minute to the 45-minute to the 15-minute chart, you can see that we've kind of maxed out with we had cyclical resistance. We're overbought on better sine wave. That's what the gray lines are showing us. We've also broken the last trailing stop from the blue professional bars. So a few days ago, beginning of September, 2nd of September, we had blue professional bars kind of come in here. We had that one day where we gapped higher at the open, and then that was it. Ever since, we've been kind of trailing down. So then when we broke that trailing stop, and all of a sudden everything kind of turned bearish. So we've got our trending system on better sine wave. All the bars are painted white, which means we're in a downtrend. We got caught by the professionals here. They kind of pushed it back into that, but for me, that's what I call killing fields. So they've seen the top is in, and at this point they force it back up in order to get kind of people excited, think it's breaking to new highs, and they're using this area above the lows of that blue professional bar to sell down, and then they kind of gap it up at the open. And then Friday's activity, Thursday into Friday, we basically kind of rallied back and then just sold off to the end of the day. And now we're in this strong downtrend on the 15-minute chart. We have to see exhaustion sell on the downside. We have to see red backgrounds with cyclical oversold activity, and we need to see starting to catch in terms of the trending system kind of turning up. So let us see whether we get that on this. I'm short from Thursday, kind of holding over the weekend. Let's see if Monday Sunday night into Monday is kind of a nasty kind of continuation of this. It seems like we've got a little bit of momentum to the downside, but just always be wary of kind of sell-off Fridays like this. Sometimes the Sunday night they get caught and we kind of rally back. So that's what I'm seeing on the equities side of things. DBA. Been talking about DBA for the last 2 years because this is the ETF that covers all the agricultural commodities, and I was talking when we had this beautiful kind of setup on DBA at mid last year. So we'd had on the downside here, we'd had a pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame, all these downtrends, and all of a sudden we have exhaustion sell down here, we have a cyclical support in the highest time frame, and we start to break into an uptrend. And at $13, $14 I was saying watch out, this thing's going to be good, and we've had rallies spectacular, some of them rallies in the ag commodities for the last year and a bit, and they've been kind of great. But we have temporarily kind of run out of puff. So we break above resistance on the highest time frame here, and we put in a series of end of trends, and the end of trends need to, as I say, ripple through the time frames. So the lowest time frame, we just keep on busting higher and higher. This was such a strong trend, and you could see that because all the bars are red. The trending system is red all the way up to the last couple of days. So we keep on going, pull back to end of trend on the lowest time frame. Finally we get an exhaustion pattern, and we come back and then we make a pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame. You can see the support and resistance lines are a little bit bolder there. So we've gone through the time frames. We're going to go down now to make support on the highest time frame, and we broke into a downtrend here. And what's interesting from a professional and amateur kind of activity, here's the low being made. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, blue professional down bars into those lows at $13, and they were buying that low, and then that whole sequence of blue professional bars is buying that breakout at 14, saying this thing is going higher and a lot higher. And then as usual with the professionals, what they do is they leg out. They leg into trades and they leg out of trades. Take a leg out here, a leg out here, and then finally this is the leg up at 19, exhaustion buy, and we sell off. And this little test, so double top if you like, and the test into those highs being led by the amateurs with a beautiful little Rambo pattern right at the high with a bearish divergence. So we've maxed out in terms of volume. We've had our exhaustion and weakened with bearish divergence. We've had professional profit taking here, and finally here, and then this final leg being pushed up by the amateurs. So we know it's weak. We get a Rambo pattern, potential reversal of an amateur breakout. That's what Rambo stands for, and we've got weakness ever since. So we've got kind of the ag commodities starting to weaken, and all of them are showing some nasty kind of downtrends kind of getting going. So wanted to show you that on DBA. Also wanted to show you Japanese yen on the daily chart. So this is our overbought oversold chart here, where everything kind of comes together. Last year we had this spectacular move in the Japanese yen, where it was kind of crazy volatility. And that was kind of the end of the yen carry trade, where everybody had to repatriate funds and they kind of have to buy back into the Japanese yen to do that. And so we had this spectacular move in Japanese yen with that sell-off. And since then, we dove and we've come back up, and we've had this high been made with blue professional bars at the highs. We finally break through the lows of that. We get a couple of triple signals kind of going off here. This one was the good one, and then we come back in for an under the lip trade. So this is our trailing stop with better pro-am, under the lip trade, bang, short into this move here. Now last 2 days we've had blue professional bars here. We've kind of bottomed here at 90 cents versus the US dollar, and we've had a couple of kind of tests down into there. We've had our exhaustion sell, our bullish divergence. We've got cyclically we're oversold. That's kind of the second pattern I'm looking for, and the third one is the professionals kind of come in. We've not seen any professional activity since the beginning of the year. Basically, what was that, March back here? But then last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, it's been super volatile on the tick bar chart of the Japanese yen. But when you back it up to a daily chart there, you can see blue professional bars, and our trailing stop with better pro-am has trailed us right down here. So we have everything in the makings for a reversal trade in the Japanese yen. So we bust above this trailing stop, that'll signal, because we have one which is the professional bars were broken above the highs of that. 2 with the exhaustion sell bullish divergence, and 3 with oversold conditions on better sine wave. 3 non-correlated indicators all go together. That will be a reversal signal for the Japanese yen, and I'm looking at that for Monday, Tuesday to see what happens with these blue professional bars. Yeah, it was down a fraction on Friday, but let's see if we get kind of above there. Now, I wonder, if that is going to sit with a sell-off in equities, similar to what we had with kind of COVID sell-off last year. Are we setting ourselves up for another kind of reversal of the Japanese yen trade? We've certainly got weakness in equities. We've got the Japanese yen looking to set up to kind of go long. So let's see if that all kind of comes together. Now, gold. Gold's been tricky to trade. We had a really nice kind of high in gold, and I didn't take it last week, and we sold off, and I got out at my trailing stop on gold for a measly little trade when it could have been a good one, but I wasn't quick enough to get out of it. But we've had weakness in gold the last few days, and this is kind of weakened on the downside. So the daily chart here, although it's not kind of signaled, we had a triple signal here that wasn't a good one, kind of broke to new highs. We've had nothing in terms of blue professional bars here, but we're weak here. We've just, with Friday's activity, broken back into a white bar showing a downtrend on the daily chart on better sine wave. Doesn't look particularly good on gold. And then when we go to the tick bar chart here, you can see that was where I should have got out. There's a pro signal exit, which is we have professionals up here with an exhaustion pattern, and I was just greedy. I said to myself, I'm going to wait for the bearish signal that comes after that, and we just slunk down, and that was I'm usually quicker at taking profits, and I was thinking, I'll hold on. Of course, no, kind of hit my trailing stop, and what did I get out at 10, and I was in at 6, so and it was up at 35. But anyway, we've had blue professional bars kind of selling down here, and we've kind of come back to test a couple of times into that range of those blue professional bars, kind of here to here from 15 down to 95, and it's weak. We're under better pro-am. We've got white bars kind of going on here. So the the tick bar chart is in a downtrend here, and on the daily chart, we've just broken into another downtrend kind of signal here. So gold's not looking good at all. Silver similarly weak. So on the daily chart here, we've had another signal. This has been in a downtrend. We did have nice signals with triples over the last 6 months or so after that kind of blow off move, but we've not been able to catch at this point here, and we've got another signal to kind of go down. So what are we doing on tip bar charts on silver? Yep, here we go. So we just had a triple kind of go off on Friday. Here we got exhaustion buy, blue professional bars in just under the 25. 25 is such a psychologically important level for silver. We kind of came into there, weakened from there, and then we got white bars here, and we finally kind of went below our trailing stop on better pro-am. So gold and silver not looking good at all. On the flip side though, I'm actually long crude at the moment, and let me go to the daily chart of that. So daily chart of crude, and I've said with crude, I don't think this thing is going to top out until we have exhaustion buy. We've had blue professional bars here that took profits, and then they stepped back in again, and we push back up again. This is still in an uptrend on the daily chart because all of the bars are red. Friday was a good day for crude, but we've got to get above 70 and then have a look at 75 kind of next. We had a signal a few days ago on this, so although it's cyclically overbought, we've got no blue professional bars, we've got no exhaustion buy. So the daily chart is still showing us that crude is in an uptrend. And then crude had a really nice, let me go back to the tip bar chart on crude and show you that, and we had a really nice kind of pattern on crude here. Yes, it did have an exhaustion buy, blue professional bars. We had a triple signal here. We came back with a couple of under the lip trades here, under the lip of better pro-am, but then at 67 they sold it down here at 69, bang, professionals, 2 blue professional bars, bang, selling it down. But as soon as it got into 67, 68, they were picking it back up again. So it's not a U-turn per se, but they were almost orchestrating it from 70. They were taking profits, then they forced it down at 69, and then picked it back up at 67. And we've broken back above here. We're just resting a little bit, kind of above better pro-am at this point. So I'm long crude at the moment. So I'm hoping that we get kind of a move back up into the 70-75 area in crude. But I don't know how that kind of sits with continuation of the sell-off in equities. So who knows which of those trades is going to work out the best. Then lastly, just to talk about Bitcoin, because wow, Bitcoin was an extraordinary kind of pattern. Let me show you it on the daily chart here. And for this chart, I'm going to show you BTC USD, the 1440 minute chart. Now, I'm also going to show you the simple settings for this, because your default settings might be different on your charts with TradeStation particularly. This trades 24/7, and you need to have all of this kind of signaled on. The default in TradeStation is only to show 6 days a week, 24 hours a day, instead of the 7 days. So you need to adjust that in your settings in order to kind of get the same chart as I'm looking at. And a lot of activity happens on weekends on Bitcoin, so it is well worth doing. So there's 24/7 kind of chart. Those are the settings that you need. And this one will show you the volume patterns kind of the same as me. So yeah, we had that huge kind of sell-off that we had. We've had two big ones. We had the 50% correction, which was because we had amateurs at the top here, and they came back down into this area where previously the professionals had bought it up at 30, and we held here, and we had amateur bars down here, and we just temporarily flicked better pro-am the other way. I'm not particularly convinced that that's a good kind of flick the other way, but you can see here amateur bars into those lows. They were getting wrong-footed, scared out of 30 bucks, and I think this went to 29.9, something like that, and then just immediately kind of ripped the other way. But the rally back was weak into 50, being led by amateurs. How similar does that look to the S&P 500 pattern? Same kind of things. Like, when you see Rambo patterns at the highs like that, you just know it's a weak rally. And so we had an opportunity 3 or 4 days ago, just above 50, and the professionals cracked it down. Now, why do I say the professionals? Because you can see it on the chart. So when we go to the tick bar chart, 8600 tick bar chart of Bitcoin, which I have been saying is closer to a 60-minute chart, but we've had so much. When I did my settings for my tip bar charts last year, Bitcoin wasn't as active. We've had so much activity on the Bitcoin markets these days that an 8600 chart is closer to a 30-minute chart than a 60-minute chart. But I haven't changed the settings on this chart. So you can see that as soon as this thing started to weaken, having hit 52, we kind of came down here. It's professionals active all the way down here, and so at 50 they're selling it down. They're thinking, let's crash this 20% on the day, and it happened within, I'd have to check, what's the timing on these bars? 10:47, and then that low, it was 11:20. I mean, this all happened in half an hour. And the professionals kind of thought at 50, let's just crack this thing down and just keep selling and selling and selling. And then as soon as it hit kind of 42 down here, they just bought it all back up. So it's a U-turn, blue professional bars, kind of using that extreme selling and panicking out to kind of get in. So it's a U-turn, blue professional bars, and then we're just going to settle for a while. We've had a couple of signals here, but what I'm looking for is a nice little blue professional bar to come in subsequently from there. Whether it's going to be on a down bar, if they're going to chase it down to 44s or 42s again, let's see, with a little bit of a, it could bring in a flush pattern, just flushing everybody out, and blue professional bars will come in again. Still long-term kind of bullish on Bitcoin, but we need to, for me, I need to see another kind of signal, kind of blue professional bars, either a down one where they kind of scare everybody and then kind of pick it up, or it breaks through this kind of level here at 47 with a blue professional bar, and they just say that's enough, we've had enough weakness, we'll get this thing going. So it'll either be a blue professional down bar or a kind of a grab and go kind of blue professional bar kind of getting us going. So we haven't seen that yet, so I don't think we're going to have a strong move in Bitcoin until we see that blue professional bar kind of come in. But that's what it was as a result of. It's like this move was all the amateurs kind of getting back in at those highs above 45 up to 50, and now they're kind of super scared. So let's see what the professionals do in the next week, I would say, with Bitcoin. So there we go. A little bit of a longer video from me, but not put anything up in the last couple of weeks. Apologies for that. And yeah, looking forward to Sunday into Monday. Let's see. It could be interesting.